Okay, so this is going to be kind of a heated rant just because I'm genuinely shaking with injustice at this fact, and I think it's incredibly stupid and unfair because I'll be turning 19 in a few days, and I feel like I've been 18 for like a decade at this point, okay? It feels like the longest that I've been a certain age in my entire life. You know why? Because the federal government treats adults under 21 like goddamn second-class citizens. If you're American, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not American, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. Because in the United States, when you're 18, for all intents and purposes, you're treated like an adult, right? You can be tried as an adult, you can vote, you can join the military, you can open a business, you can do certain types of gambling, you can buy most types of firearms, but not pistols, because in order to buy a pistol from like a standard gun store, in all 50 states, you have to be 21. And this is particularly annoying because in light of all these mass shootings, I've been growing increasingly worried about my safety in public, and one of the best ways to protect yourself from a mass shooter is with a pistol. But because the dumbass government doesn't treat me like an actual adult, they made it extremely hard for me to get one for nothing. Because I mean, it is still legally possible to get a pistol if you're under 21, but like it's a pretty complicated and tedious process that a lot of people aren't willing to go through. And frankly, they shouldn't have to go through it because the government should treat us like actual, normal adults. And now some states are adding on to this by raising the age to buy other types of guns to 21. And this is all being done in light of all these mass shootings that are happening. But it's just such a dumb reactionary decision that doesn't actually fix anything. It just punishes law-abiding citizens under 21 for the actions of a single crazy person. There's also the dumb law of having to be 21 to buy a suppressor from a gun store and to get a concealed carry permit. Oh, you thought it stops at gun stuff? No. In the United States, you have to be 21 to buy alcohol, cigarettes, marijuana. You have to be 21 in most states to go into a casino. You have to be 21 for an unrestricted commercial driving license. When I had my driving permit, I had to be accompanied by an adult in my car that was over 21. I think you can kind of see where I'm going with this. Basically, for some reason in the United States, when you turn 18, you have to wait 3 more years to be treated like an actual adult. And in some cases, it goes beyond 21. Like, have you seen the minimum ages for our public offices? 25 for House, 30 for Senate, 35 for President. In a lot of states, you have to be 30 or 35 for Governor. Guys, these numbers were literally plucked out of thin air, and now apparently we're just supposed to sit with it. And it's a problem. It's a very, very big problem, guys, because when you encourage all these older people to get elected, then that's how you end up with all these geriatric dinosaurs that just sit on their asses all day and don't do anything. Like, holy fuck, America. Fix your shit. Nobody else does this, okay? In most countries, when you turn 18, the floodgates are open and you can do all the same shit that a 21 or 25 or 35 or 45 or 95-year-old can do. Yes, in some countries, sometimes there's some like higher above 18 age limits for certain things. Like, for example, in England, you get a higher minimum wage if you're 23 compared to 18. Or in Sweden, you can only get alcohol from bars at 18, but if you want to buy it in a store, you have to be 20. But those are like small things. Here, there's such a huge disparity between 21 and 18 and other ages. Like, holy crap, just pick one age. Make everything either 21 or make everything 18. But you can't have both. Or some other age, I don't know. But it has to be one specific number, okay? And before somebody in the comments goes off like, technically your brain doesn't develop until you're 25, so you're still not mature. Before that, like, bro, I don't care. If I'm mature enough to take out 100 grand in student loans, or join the military, or vote, then I'm mature enough to buy a beer, okay? Or a pistol. It's really not rocket science. And I genuinely believe the minimum age to run for public office should be 18. Now, I'm not saying that an average 18-year-old is competent enough to run a country, not at all. But if by some chance there's some like prodigy, super mature, responsible 18-year-old that can prove that he's like fit for running a country, then people should be able to elect him. Are we not in a free country, guys? Okay, if you absolutely want to have an age limit above 18 for that, then like, I don't know, make it 24 or something, but nothing above that, okay? Because this kind of stuff needs to be used sparingly, and there should only be like 1 or 2 instances, if any at all, in the country where like something has an age limit higher than 18, okay? Because that's how it is in most countries. I even know where all this 21 bullshit came from, okay? It's from colonial England, because in England back then, like, 21 was considered the age where you became an adult and not 18. And that's literally where we got that from, because, you used to have to be 21 to vote as well. Luckily, we got rid of that, but if you refuse to get rid of the other 21 age limits, or even worse, add new ones, or refuse to get rid of other things from colonial England, like the imperial system, then you're basically saying that you're a redcoat, a traitor, and a Benedict Arnold, okay? And no offense to any British people here, because at least you guys are getting rid of the colonial stuff a lot better than we are. And it may sound like I'm overreacting, but I'm not, because when you have this legally enforced seniority, it turns into a social thing as well, because I remember even in like elementary, middle, and high school, we already were only treated better based on how old we were. Like, for example, you couldn't even use your phone up until 9th grade in high school. And for example, even then, when you got to 9th grade, you couldn't leave the building for lunch until 11th grade. And when you got to 11th grade and you could do that, you couldn't leave it for any other like free period you had. You could only do that when you became a senior. And you could also only park on school grounds when you were a senior. And also, there was a competition that would happen between the seniors and juniors every year. And they used to actually rig it so that the seniors would win each time. I mean, thankfully they stopped doing that. But the fact is that they originally did that because they see seniors as like inherently superior people. And when you become an adult in the workplace, the older people always demand respect even if they don't deserve it. And young people are almost always treated like some unexperienced rookies, even if they're actually really good at what they do. I also see a lot of negative sentiment towards younger people on the internet. I've seen people be like, oh, people under 25 should be banned from bars or venues or like from the internet as a whole, which is pretty crazy, but I have heard people say stuff similar to that. Oh, and let's not forget that car rental companies won't rent to you, at least not for a decent price, if you're under 25 in a lot of places. So that's also an example of a socially imposed age limit. And it all boils down to the fact that it's quite frankly disrespectful to young people, okay? It's disrespectful to the people that die in your wars, that build your skyscrapers, that pave your roads. I don't see people that are like 60 years old working on assembly lines or harvesting wheat. So I think it's about goddamn time that we receive some compensation for the things we do to keep this country running. Like, I get respecting your elders and listening to their wisdom and stuff, but right now I feel like an adult light or like an adult with an asterisk next to it, and quite frankly, that's unacceptable. And yeah, guys, that ends today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please do consider hitting that like and subscribe button. As always, this is your captain speaking. Peace out.